Sorry. So, you know, just I'm gonna chop this up to pieces as a podcast, so you can hear this shared discussion separately. But now let's get into Secret Agent. That's the mini grid of this podcast. Okay. So, what's your opinion on episode three, Will, and episode four? Like,
I liked episode 3.
good.
Yeah, I liked. What's his name?
Alan.
Kingsley Benadir.
Oh, the villain? Oh, wow. Okay.
I really liked his performance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like the first couple episodes, I wasn't sold on him, but then, I think episode 3, yeah, was the one where was it 3 or 4?
Episode three is where the museum is at.
Okay, yeah, that's the scene I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah, um, yeah. I mean, his performance in that scene was really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really felt menacing, and you could like see the like hatred in his eyes. It was really good. Yeah. And then Olivia Colman continues to be the best part of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the dialogue is like, it's better than normal Marvel stuff, but it's still not like
Yeah.
great. But then every delivery that she gives is just perfect. Like she really elevates the script that she's working with.
Oh, yeah, she does. She's literally the best thing about episode five.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you get to episode five, it's like she's the one that stole the show for that episode for me.
Yeah.
And everyone else. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, Olivia Colman. Like, well, and I gotta say, I mean, Olivia Colman. I think she's the like only actress that's like committed to this series. Like she's doing everything as an actress, which is
Right.
so impressive. You know?
Yeah. Well, I've seen interviews with her where she like really wanted to be in a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she's just like having fun with it because she knows this is her like
Yeah.
chance to be a part of it. Or other people feel like they're kind of phoning it in a little bit.
Yeah, I do. Or I think for some, they just don't have the time to really shine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yeah.
I guess for me right now, seeing episode five for me, it's definitely Emilia Clarke. She's so underused in these two episodes for 2 and 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah, such a big name, and then yeah, she's got very little to actually do.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Like, I, 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 I don't know if I think my friend, one of the hosts and I are reviewing The Walking Dead. That's it. And we had a moment where we actually were on the same page where we agreed we need more episodes, like at least 8 episodes at least to tell the story for that show. And it cracks me up that this show is literally the same thing. It's like we need more episodes to tell the story. I don't think the 6-episode format is really working for that still.
No. Yeah, I mean, I think this should have been like an entire phase. I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it should have been much more of an event.
Yeah.
In the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I agree. That or like I feel like, especially episode 5, not spoiling episode 5 at all, but like with the direction we're taking with Nick, I feel like this should have been more of a Talos story than Fury story, really.
Yeah.
Right? Because I agree with you that why we're telling the Secret Agent with Nick, or like in general the story right now, I feel like it just feels like we have two big stories that we're telling, and it's like meshing up like typical MCU movies. When you feel like it's like Love and Thunder, like the issue with Love and Thunder, it was like they were smashing two major Thor arcs, right?
Right.
You know, the Chain, Cancer, the Mighty Thor, and then of course the guard picture storyline. Oh my god. Uh,
Hmm.
it was like how. I mean, the third Thor had two major storylines, but they somehow managed that better than Love and Thunder. But I don't know. It's just I feel like this was. I think it's having an issue where you got the Secret Invasion, then you got this like Nick getting back to the Swing Thing storyline that we're getting.
Hmm.
And it's like kind of easily done like a grounded Nick Fury show where he just like a grounded thriller.
Hmm.
Like you don't need the sci-fi stuff at
Right.
all.
Yeah. It didn't have to be about the scrolls.
Yeah, yeah.
Could have
Oh my
just
god.
been like Agents of Shield, but with a bigger budget.
Yeah. Oh my god. Please. Yes, I know. Yeah. Like I don't know. It's like I feel like them just getting rid of Shield was a huge mistake.
Hmm.
I mean, like you need Shield, or get just take Nick to Sword or something like that. But it's just weird now. It's just
Yeah.
um,
It's weird.
yeah. So it's just very weird. Um, so speaking, I brought up Talos. I guess let's get into the really big positive for episode was really Talos. Ben Mendelsohn. He is a great actor. Love
Hmm.
him still. He really stole the show for episode 3 and 4. Uh, when we get to that horrible moment that they killed him off, I was so pissed. Pardon my French. And I've been repeatedly saying this in the Secret Invasion podcast video that I'm with the MC Bleeding Edge. Check it out, guys. Um, I say F you, Secret Invasion. How dare you cross this line for me? Get rid of this character I love. And then I was just so shocked that they kill off Talos like that. You
Hmm.
know, it was horrible. And episode 5 they did address it, which was good. But I think so far for me and some of the hosts were discussing episode 5, it felt very dirty compared to Marie Hill. But
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. It's really ridiculous. Um, but yeah, what do you think about Ben Mendelsohn? I mean, he's great. I mean, that when we got to the museum thing, which
Hmm.
we saw in the trailer, like Ben Mendelsohn really gave that scene gravitas, and like he's the reason I love that scene so much.
Yeah, he was really good in it.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was so good. I mean, when Gravik starts to talk about the daughter, that was when he really like snapped and just.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then you see the multiple graphics. It was like, oh, I see, I get now. This is something. It was so perfect. Um, but it was kind of funny. Like Gravik had now the super soldier, like not super soldier. I'm sorry, super scroll powers, and and Talos still beat him to his butt. Really, like he stabbed, like he put a knife on his hand, and like so quickly, like how can you like not kill Talos? You know?
Yeah, well, I think he wasn't trying to kill Talos in that moment,
Yeah, I know that, but
but
I just find it funny he allowed that. It's like you're the leader of this rebellion. Like you should be more badass.
yeah, yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It was just funny. It's like oh, and the way he moved was so quick. I was like, whoa, he choked him, and then like before he did the knife thing, it's just like wow, that was fast.
hmm,
So yeah, you know, but I agree with what you're saying, Will. It's kind of funny. He didn't react so fast and try to think to protect his reputation as this uprising leader.
right, yeah,
Um, but yeah, so picking back episode 3, I think it was really good to have more. Like the thing I liked about episode 3 was how they developed more Talos and Beer's relationship.
hmm,
More. We got a little bit in the first 2 episodes, and I really like the buddy cup um, type of episode of this. Like you really see how like Talos, despite he has his way of handling the spy stuff, he still is loyal to Nick, and like he still sees the the potential of scrolls being in peace with the humans,
Mm-hmm.
and he tries desperately to balance that out with his people, and then with the side of Nick and his human side, and then others around Nick. Um, and I think that really works well with the whole scroll expansion. If we continue more with the scroll stuff in the later phases, we
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of content now with that. Because at the Talos side, we got Nick's wife and Gaia that was played by Emilia Clarke. So like we at least we have a very strong foundation moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
With the whole squirrel race and their placement of being accepted as people, in Earth. So that is really good. Um, but I I guess the best moment with Talos was him talking to the dogs. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I think that's one of the best dialogue ever from Benson saying that. It's like, oh, I hate dogs. Why we have to carry poo. And all of that. And number two, I
Mm-hmm.
I that's one of those funny things, and I can never imagine actors saying that, but Ben Mendelsohn sells that very well. So it's great. And then I'm trying to figure out that this is where we get yeah, this is where we get the meat locker scene with
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Colman. So like
Yeah.
that's another sample of Olivia Colman doing great. Like when she enter in, and the guy, he has to check, she was cleared to do her torture scene, and it was just funny that she asked about the escape entrance. I was like, why she ask that? I thought she was a scroll at first
Uh-huh.
when she was asking, but then I didn't realize she was like asking just in case, you know, the betrayer, the scroll infiltrator, people will probably get him. She got the exit quickly before she will be compromised. So that was like a cool way. That like was probably the most smartest thing a person has done in life for me in the TV and movie universe. So that was really good. That I was very surprised we got that early. We locked her thing, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Um,
That was well done.
yeah. So and then the big thing that happened with episode 3 was the Nick's wife. We know from episode 2 was the scroll, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about what we did with her in these 2 episodes? Do you like it? You wish we did more with her? Like, what's your opinion on Nick's wife?
Yeah. I think they could have done more with her. Like, I don't know. It feels like there should be so much emotional weight between like
Mm-hmm.
the two of them and how their relationship is impacted by like Nick Fury's lifestyle and then her being a scroll and like her betrayal. But because we just found out about her like at the
Yeah,
end of episode 2, or was it the
yeah, yeah.
episode 2 or 3?
Episode 2 we got introduced with her.
Okay. Yeah.
3 is here.
But
We'll learn more about her.
right. I don't know. Like we should have. I feel like it would have more emotional impact if we had known about her for like a long time. Like that's my big problem with this show in general is that
Mm-hmm.
the betrayal of like someone secretly being a scroll, like that reveal is only really dramatic if it's someone that we've been like following for a while.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I feel like so much of this show um, is just missing that like sense of
yeah.
like there's no, it doesn't feel like there's really emotional stakes because it's all a bunch of characters that we've never really seen before.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
or
Well,
have, or at least like haven't spent a lot of time with.
yeah. The time with. Yeah. I. I think my big issue is just not. I brought this up in the podcast that there just isn't enough room to breathe. The moments
Mm-hmm.
and fully develop these these personal themes for our characters. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So like the two major guests we have in the series, Marie Hill and Talos and episode 4, if we had a, a bit more time in these action scenes and like see Fury talk about more about it, and then it could have made the series be more better.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we're juggling with way too much things in these episodes, and we're sacrificing a lot of action and like suspension and just like plot over characterization and character driven arcs for these characters.
Mm-hmm.
And just the hour, like that's something we have to bring up is that I thought because episode 3 and 4 we losing a lot more time. Episode 3 was 39 minutes, and
Mm-hmm.
then episode 4 was even shorter. I think, uh, and at first I was like, oh, okay, because I thought episode 3 we're heading in the right direction. It's like, okay, we if they have shorter time, they can be more focused and then they can be successful. But nope, episode 4 they completely dropped that. Like it was again the issue with all these Disney Plus shows. When we get to a certain point, they like lose focus and like they're they are struggling with some of these storylines because they don't have time to really spend on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it takes an issue. Like I mean, yeah, episode 4, like we all knew, Rhodey was going to be a scroll after episode 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you pay attention, like I knew when this episode 3, when someone always say something to Fury, when you call Fury, like he knows that you're the real person, but
Mm-hmm.
no one calls him Nick, and that's a red herring. So with the fact that Rory calls him Nick, it was like, okay, he used to be a scroll, and then it confirmed that in episode 4, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the issue with like it's weird because I think what I don't like about the show with the scroll stuff is they reveal too early that these people are scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you didn't catch episode 2 when that episode was ending, there was a quick shot of a scroll cutting like those green beads, and that was Nick's wife before she turned into her cover form.
Right.
And so like why did you did that? And it was like you don't need that shot of
Yeah.
like
Well, I guess it wasn't supposed to be a twist.
yeah
Like
yeah
that she was a scroll, but
yeah but that's the same issue with Rhodey. Like when
yeah,
you see
Rhodey, it was bad.
yeah like my like none of the hosts realized that we saw that scroll transform into Rhodey right away after the shower because it
Mm-hmm.
was so quick. You know, I it was just so bizarre. Like the editing in this show is really bad
Mm-hmm.
because when we I mean this is I mean I mentioned Talos' death like just it's not a spoiler thing. It was gonna happen anyway. Like Gaia gets something from Nick to get the body of Taros to like get a proper burial,
Mm-hmm.
burial, right?
Yep.
Um, when you see episode 5, I it they do something where I don't like about movies TV. They don't show you how she gets the body. It's just very quick, and like we get to the next shot where she's in a van and we see the body,
Mm-hmm.
like the corpse, and like no explanation. Oh, it's like it's so bad. The show is really bad at just not like setting up these scenes or getting to these points like A and B, like in like organically,
Right.
and it's just so bad. I just hate it. So yeah, and I like it's weird. Like Winter Soldier did a good job of being paranoid, right? Like we
Mm-hmm.
didn't know who was Hydra agents. Like I mean, you kind of get a sense Pierce was agent, until like he went to Soldier and he killed his Nandy, or
Right.
his, you know, um, Senator Stern from Iron Man 2, like when he was talking to Stitwell, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he comes close and he say hi Hydra, like that was such a big deal. Like
Yeah. It was. It was such a great reveal.
yeah, and I feel like we need more. Like I feel like this show shouldn't look at Winter Soldier and how you deal with these infiltration. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they just didn't do that right in the show.
No, no, they didn't.
Yeah. So that's the biggest problem with the show is it's just like they barely attempted that. It's like we
Mm-hmm.
really know where we're going. So um yeah 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 I guess uh let's get into the death of Talos. Um, that was a big thing in episode 4. Um, like by the way, I mean episode 4 it was like basic, like we got the reveals. Rhodey being a scroll was not a big deal, but I will say Don Cheadle is having a great time. Like I actually do like him as a scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way him and Jackson go back and forth is hilarious. And I thought initially, Nick did something to his drink, and like tried to maybe kill him by his drink, but no, it was like he just put like a liquid tracker to just track him where he was going.
Right, which is
Yeah,
not a thing, but
yeah, yeah. Very like there's no way that could work for that. But hey, it's fictional stuff.
yeah, yeah, but that's
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah. I just love you brought that realistic aspect. Well, it's like it's not gonna work. It's like,
well, but like what are you?
yeah,
What
well,
in a liquid is gonna like? It's not like there's like a computer chip in a liquid.
yeah,
Like
uh,
that's not.
yeah. It's
Nothing
definitely.
is small enough to.
Oh god. I
I
mean,
don't know.
I,
It,
I nanites, right? Like, I had to have nanites, right?
I
Like,
get, yeah, like I'm
what
sure
kind of
there's some hand wavy comic book
thing?
thing, but
Mhm. Yeah.
like it could have just been he like snuck some microchip
Mhm.
somewhere. They like put it on his clothes or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It didn't have to be a liquid tracking device.
Oh, all right, all right. All right. It worked for me, but I mean, it's very silly. If you think about it, really hard. I guess my thing was like I guess like what they're gonna do, track Roy, and then they know about the attack, right, to the
Mm-hmm.
president,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes sense. But that wasn't like that at all when we get to that scene. Um, but yeah, but overall, that was good. Like the beginning part, like the first part of episode 4 was really strong, and then until we got to the action part of um the ambush, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's actually a really good action scene. I actually really liked it. Like seeing Gravik using his super scroll powers was well done. I think the special effects here are really good in the show. Like I don't have a problem with the effects at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I especially it was really horrifying to see Talos getting shot and like you're seeing half his human form and slash scroll at
Mm-hmm.
once. Like that was like so cool.
Yeah, it was done really well. Good prosthetic work.
Yeah, it was really good. And then just him trying to get the president out was like really like so like sad to see. It's just like he's trying to bounce it, trying to break the glass. It was
Mm-hmm.
terrifying. Um, yeah. So then Nick got the president. The car. By the way, his car was cool. I liked it was remote control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very, very James Bond. Um, and oh god, this part I was so shocked. It really knew something was wrong, and that was like it was Gravik. Gravik was holding Talos, and then Talos, of course, did he formed his like kind of blade flute thing and stabbed Talos, and and then of course Nick saying no very dramatically. His friend dying, shoots multiple times at Kravik, but no results. Like, come on, dude. You know he took the super scroll thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous. And then he just stands there. Like he didn't do anything. He didn't go and get towels. And like he
Yeah.
just like that was the thing that bothered me was that like I I was like, oh my god. And then we got this like short, quick scene of just seeing the dead body towels laying there, and then cut and credits. And it's like, what? Like, are you effing kidding me? Are you?
Yeah.
Pardon my French. Fucking kidding me? Did you do this to me? Like, I was like, fuck you, Secret Invasion. I took them in for the actor in the screen. I was like, F you. So I was like, oh my god. This was so like so unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
So they killed Talos, and I gotta say I don't know what they're gonna do with these two deaths. Like people are bringing up that maybe that Marie Hill and Talos could come back, but I just have this feeling they're not coming back. Really.
Yeah. I'm not sure how they would,
No, well,
but
I mean,
there's
yeah,
always some.
some
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I say life mile decoy. Like that explains everything, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
it could. I mean, we had a reference to that in the Avengers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was really it. And then I mean, if you haven't seen Agent of Shield, like we dealt with that with over 2.5 seasons. It's like, come on. Yeah. So, what's your opinion on Title's death? I hated it. I was so shocked that they did it.
Yeah.
I go ahead. Just go, please.
I think I'm in the same boat.
Okay.
Yeah. It just really it felt like it came out of left field. It felt wrong. It felt like they didn't really give it enough weight.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Just so much about this show feels like rushed almost. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
It really does.
yeah. Like so many of the plot points feel like they really needed more time to be developed to have the weight that the show seems to think they have.
Yeah. I mean, like, like, I don't know what the show is still. It's like, I mean, the other Disney Plus shows, like, I'm just having a tough time. Like, I'm just trying to remember, um, okay, I'm just looking at the running times, for these episodes. Like, so, I, like, Moon Knight, uh, like WandaVision and Loki and like the first half of the Disney Plus shows did a really good job hitting their plot points correctly,
Right, right.
right? No matter what you thought about the episodes, like Loki episode 3, with the Sif, well, not Sif, I'm sorry, Sylvie and Loki in the train and then
Mm-hmm.
and something, or the first two episodes of Wonder Vision, yeah, Wonder Vision, episode 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like just like it was like getting into the sitcom, like it was setting up something before we get to episode 3, where it really got you into the weird stuff of WandaVision,
Right.
right? And then Loki, what Hawkeye? I mean, with the Kingpin stuff. Like they were like did something with that, and that was a big deal. Um, I'm just I just feel like this is like peak my numbers, like kind of setup. Like it seems like Kravik wants to destroy the Earth. Really, like
Hmm.
it lets Skrulls take over, and I understand what you're saying with Kravik's performance. I like that performance, but like I don't like the character at all. Like
Yeah,
not like you know what I mean?
yeah. I don't. Yeah, the performance is better than the writing, and
Yeah,
like, yeah,
I I really I mean Ben Kinsley, he's a really great actor. I like him too. I mean he's great in the OA in season 2. He's really great there, and
hmm,
Uh, if you watch the Regina King's film One Night in Miami, he's really great there. Um, I there was potential in his villain here, but I'm just not more. I'm not really invested in his plan at all.
yeah,
Like like it's so typical, and I feel like him being the Emily was the wrong direction. I feel like he should be more the Emily for Talos than Nick Fury because it
hmm,
affected more Talos more. So I I don't know. It's just because like everything he has done so far, he hasn't affected. Like I get because someone brought up this in the podcast about Nick. Like I get Nick is very close off character. He acts very cool,
hmm,
you know, and he doesn't show too much his emotions. But at the same time, I feel like the show hasn't really dived in Nick psychologically, right? And
right.
like and that's where I'm feeling more distant from Nick in the show than any of his appearances in the MCU so far. So I don't understand where his behavior. Like I get the blip changed him, but it should be more than that, right?
Right.
Like you think that the Thanos, like the Avengers splitting up, should be more of like his issue. Like he could have been there to maybe keep the Avengers together. That they couldn't stop Thanos, right?
Hmm.
You know, I, I think there should be more than the blip. Like he's been on 5 years and it's hopeless and all that.
Yeah, and there's he really does feel like a fraction of the character that we had before.
Yeah, yeah, and he's gonna be like that again in the Marvels.
Right.
Like he's probably gonna be more of the Captain Marvel Nick than probably this version we're seeing right now. You know.
Hmm.
So it's gonna be weird. It's very weird, and that's always the issue with the MCU. It's like it's sometimes they nail consistently with characters' personality,
Hmm.
but sometimes they so on struggle with their development of personalities. Like we see this with Thor, uh, Doctor Strange, and now Nick. I mean, Nick
Hmm.
has been like this since day one, fortunately. So yeah. And I guess just kind of quickly wrap up things. Speaking of Gaia, she got killed in episode 3, and it was like very quick. Like her, like I thought it was cool they killed her off initially, and
Hmm.
then in episode 4 they explained that she took the extremis formula, and like that's how she survived. So I was like, oh, okay. So that was a quick thing. I was surprised he didn't took all the Super Scroll stuff for her.
Hmm.
Like I was kind of wondering why you didn't do that. You could easily be more powerful than Rabbit. Uh,
Yeah.
fighting. So
Yeah. It felt just like convenient for plot reasons to not give her the superpowers.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like logically, that feels like what the character would have done and should have done.
yeah. Like
Um,
she didn't know that at that point that he had
right.
all the. So yeah, um, yeah. So yeah, we're in a very low point in the series. Um, episode 5 is okay. I don't think episode 4 is the worst, but it's like at least decent. But it just crossed the line. Episode
Hmm.
5 very boring. Like, and I say they trying to explain this thing that they brought up because this is something that Gravik wants. He started to say the harvest by any chance in these episodes. Um, because like he brings up the harvest, and that's going to be a important thing in episode 5,
Hmm.
and that's something he wants from Nick, and it was very funny. And this is the worst part of it in the next episode. It's very much an expedition to set up the finale, and it's like, oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah, the only great thing was Olivia Colman. She's as we've been saying so many times, like Olivia Colman's there. She's having a great time, and like she's the best thing about this show, and she's leading the best thing about episode 5. So
Yeah.
yeah, so you at least can enjoy them. So uh, she has great moments. So that's that's the song worse something, and
Hmm.
whatever her name is. But yeah. That's Secret Invasion. Anything to say, Will, about Secret Invasion 3 and 4? I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah. Um, yeah, well, thank you, Will, for coming today to talk about Secret Invasion and the trailer from the Marvels. Um,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, and yeah, so I guess just a brief update. Our schedules are going to be a little tough to come back to do podcasts, everyone. So me and will come back in indefinite for a podcast, but not. I'm not confirming it's going to be in 2 weeks or we'll come back. It will just it's going to be a longer time to come back. So because both of us have are very busy in life and our jobs and whatnot. So it's gonna be difficult for us to get together and podcast. But no worries. There's a lot of content still on the channel. So just watch for that. But yeah, but I just want to say thank you, Will, for joining me today. It's always a pleasure discussing these TV shows and movies with you. It's always been a blast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's always been nice talking to you, seeing what you think about these movies.
Yep. And yeah, and I cannot believe it. Summer is almost over. I mean, halfway July. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
no, time is flying.
yeah, I cannot believe like oh my god, I can't believe it's August. My birthday is coming up.
Hmm.
Many more family and friends' birthdays coming up. It's too much. Yeah, well, some of them are lucky because my birthday's on a Monday. So yeah, so yeah, it's so bad. It's like oh my god, why that day? So my birthday's on a Monday. It's like it could have been Wednesday or Thursday, Friday. I don't know, Saturday or Sunday. But no, Monday for this year.
Yeah, it's always the worst.
Yep, the worst. Anyway, yeah, but thank you everyone to listen to this podcast. Maybe we'll come back indefinite to do another podcast. Just watch out and yeah, have a good week, everyone. Bye bye.